Now, the next thing that you're going to have to navigate as you work through this transition is, how do you handle new freedom? How do you handle new freedom in your life? Because, I don't know how you experience Mormonism, but most of us experience it as a fairly controlling environment. Would you say that's accurate? Because, they told you what you could and couldn't drink and eat, what you could and couldn't wear, how you're supposed to spend your time all week on Monday night. And even now, if you live in Utah, they just told us how to vote. And so, well, I didn't get that email because I'm not a member anymore. And so coming out of this environment, a lot of people, maybe you've noticed this, maybe you felt this yourself. A lot of people say, well, now I'm free from these, church standards. Now I can just do whatever I want, and believe me, I will. So it becomes anything goes. And in some circles, former Mormon circles, it's almost a badge of honor to see how far I can go to get out from under that lifestyle that was imposed on me in the past. So we've got to figure out how to make responsible, ethical decisions without the guidance of the church. How do you, so what about coffee now? You drink coffee? We had coffee here. I've never learned to like coffee after all these years of not being a Mormon. But I do like a beer. Is it okay? Is it okay to drink liquor? How much? Is it okay, to wear different kind of clothing? Well, who decides that for you? Who decides what you do with your money? Who decides how you handle your relationships with the opposite sex? We have to learn how to make responsible, ethical decisions and how to use the freedom that we now have. We have this freedom. So let's take a look at Galatians chapter 5. He says, so Christ has truly set us free. Now make sure that you stay free and don't get tied up again in slavery to the law. He's talking about freedom from this Old Testament code of regulations and rules that are kind of like the standards that we lived under Mormonism. He says, you're free now from that, for you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. So he says we have this freedom from these laws and regulations, but there's a boundary on it. So how are we going to use it? How are we going to use the freedom that we've now given? And I've got a lot of resources on this one. This has been an interesting conversation on Faith After Mormonism. I'm thinking this through with some people. So I suggest you take a look at some of the biblical principles. I don't have time to go into all those principles about how do you make those decisions. But the fact is that if you're going to make progress toward that vibrant, healthy relationship with Christ out there, that healthy faith life after Mormonism, you've got to learn how to handle this freedom and how to do it responsibly.